welcome. Hit the like button, hit the bell, hit subscribe. Thank you for listening. This is Joey. Let's get right to it. You know, I'm real happy that I caught an episode fresh while it's fresh on my mind, because I don't really like to clip shows and do all that shit. You know, I'm just recording on the mic while it's fresh on me, and I got an opportunity to talk to you guys. And every time this dude be saying some bullshit, I record full ass episodes on what he said, and then I just kind of forget about it because I got bigger things to talk to you about. And I try to stay out of talking about people directly. I didn't want to fall into that YouTube trap, but this is a perfect opportunity for me to point out something I want to prove about how the scammer class within the scammer class, I want to be very, very clear on this. We're not talking about white folks. We're talking about the scammer class within the black community is a major reason why we got problems. This is why we got problems with communication, because these people are disinformation artists. And what disinformation artists don't like is clear-cut, unrepudiated facts. You know what I'm saying? Clear-cut, undeniable goddamn facts you can look at on the paper and go, oh, that is what it is. It's a math problem. Oh, damn. Niggas don't like stats. Niggas don't like analytics, right? Niggas like feeling and emotion and shit like that. They like a convincing talker. Shout out to Pocket Watching with JT. He once said, there's one thing that's more respected in the black community than anything else. It's a smooth talker. We love somebody who can use big words and stuff like that. And we don't really know what he's saying, but we know it sounds good, right? He make it sound real good. Don't let him be able to put it to a beat. Now, I want to talk tonight about how this nigga Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton gonna fix his black ass lips to say that ADOS as a group, quote unquote, uses white people statistics. This nigga, this nigga used these excuse that the stats that ADOS uses to point out the poverty and the mistreatment and the injustice in the black community and uses it to make an argument for reparations. This nigga dismissed the shit because he said it uses, quote unquote, white people stats. Now, this is something that is so dumb to say and dangerous to say. And this is what I be talking about fuck them elders, right? Because them elders, we don't have regular elders like that in the black community like you think. We got some real good OGs and shit like that, but you got a lot of people, young black people, who are jealous of you that come from your own community. And they're looking at the edge of their life and they're looking where their destiny is and they're kind of jealous. And on the way out the door, they want to fuck the rest of the team up on the way out the door. They want to mislead you. They're bitter. This nigga want to dismiss statistics as a whole, right? And then he used that to parlay into an unconnected argument of, see, black folks, we need our own statistics. Those are two separate arguments. Black people do need to start keeping track of our own statistics on ourselves. That's a good thing. But that doesn't mean outwardly just dismiss any stat coming from a white person, especially when the stat is used to make your argument. It's not like he's saying dismiss these stats ADOS is using because they're making the argument that everything's fine with black folks and they're using these white people stats to show that black people are doing fine, right? No, he don't want to talk about that. He want to dismiss statistics that ADOS is using to try to get black people reparations. He's dismissing, quote unquote, white people statistics. White people statistics. The same statistics that he uses to berate black people to say how poorly we're doing and performing when comparing with other groups, right? He's one of them niggas that we not doing good like the LGBTQ. We not doing good like the Mexican. We not doing good like the Chinese. Well, how would you know that without stats, nigga? You know, the white man's stats. You got to understand the type of audience that a nigga like Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton is speaking to. You know, I keep an eye on all these niggas for that reason. This is the type of dude, he'll tell you straight up, he was a scammer. He'd be going around on the fucking trains around Chicago, rippity rapping about, you know, Idi Amin and Haile Selassie for chump change. And he'd be hustling people. People, see, I want to talk about this African mumbo jumbo scammer class because they're a real problem. They take advantage of black people's insecurities. They know black people, black Americans specifically, have a sense of kind of wanting to belong to something more than what we're a part of. Don't nobody want to be where your legacy is just slavery, how it's been depicted to you. So you want to be part of something bigger. You want to be a mystical, magical African and all that magical shit, right? He talks all that big game about business and black military and all that shit. He talks a good game, but he reverted back to his bullshit. This nigga was clout chasing ADOS. You see, the reason why we never talked about, we expected white folks, white politicians who benefit off of using and misleading the black people in America. We expected them to want to tamp ADOS down. We expected them to want to stymie and stifle and cover us up and depict us as bad. We expected their bought and paid for boule Negroes in the Democratic Party to shout ADOS down. That was all calculated. That was all telegraphed. That was part of the game. What we didn't expect, I'll admit, what we didn't expect was for the black scammer class to expose themselves as part of the game too. You see, a lot of people, more people than you think, more than just white people, benefit greatly off of the confusion and disarray of black people in America and worldwide. There's a lot of people that benefit from us being scattered and confused, and you can tell us anything. And a big portion of the people that benefit from that, once you remove all the white folk, once you remove all the people of color that got businesses in our areas and shit like that and are integrated in all our political movements and take over, once you remove all those people and you just got niggas left, you got a good layer of fat over the black community. That's the black goddamn scammer class. And the black scammer class is vast and varied. You got Christian black scammer class. You got all the Reverend Do Your Wrongs scamming money off the top and putting it in collection plates for building funds that'll never get built. But, ooh, that sure is a brand new, nice, sweet Escalade Cadillac. You got the religious scammers, right? You got the HBCU college scammers. But at least you're getting a tangible, semi-tangible diploma out of it, right? And then you got the lowest of the low. You got these black power scammers. And I call them the lowest of the low because they have the most ground level connection with the most common black person. And they, like the church, steals from the common black person. And they are the lowest of the low because they offer really nothing in return. They offer the least tangibles in return. It's all talk and feely good. And the one thing that they promise that they offer, which is knowledge, is often skewed, misinformed, or just flat out intentional disinformation to manipulate you. People like using black people as a critical mass for things. You get enough black people riled up about something, we can make a movement happen. We know how to make noise. People like that quality in us. And so they like to use that to make us be their front lines for their benefit. This nigga having goddamn $100 million black power for the people funds and shit. And that shit went straight in his pocket. Right. But I digress. We getting back to this. So white people stats. White people stats. This is the shit ADOS had to deal with. right? When you started seeing the tamp from black people, this is before the little FBA. See, Tariq was smart. I'll give him his credit. Tariq was smart. He saw an appetite. He saw an opportunity to create something. He knew that given the resistance from quote unquote new black media, which is just niggas on YouTube, right? I laugh whenever I hear these black YouTube channels talking about we are the new black media. This, yeah, like you guys make some noise online. Y'all are the black Twitter. You know what I'm saying? We're the black chatter. But if any point in time YouTube just wanted to cut everybody's channel off on new black media could be dead with one button press, right? So miss me with that bullshit. We're some niggas on YouTube. We're niggas on YouTube. But I'm listening all through new black media niggas on YouTube. And he noticed that there was a resistance to the shit ADOS was talking. This is the part of the revolution nobody ever talks about. People love talking about Toussaint and Haiti, but they didn't like talking about how he had to put his people to work so that they could manufacture, so they could keep up being free, right? So they could maintain freedom. And his people didn't like that. And our white folks was able to spin that in history and make it look like he enslaved his own people and had his people turning against him and shit. Everybody want to talk about how he got free. Nobody want to talk about the fallout. Nobody want to talk about everybody turning on MLK right before he got killed. Nobody want to talk about that. He had detractors within his own ranks. Martin Luther damn King had detractors within. Martin Luther King almost had to steal on a nigga one time. Go look it up. He's talking and trying to, communicate and organize, and someone was clowning and called him fat, and Martin Luther King had to almost steal on a nigga. I swear to God. Nobody wants to talk about this stuff, about dissension in the ranks, because niggas always have that me syndrome where they want to be the star and shit. They want to make it about them. They want to turn the movement into their direction for some fantasy they have about ruling black people and shit. Don't ever trust a nigga named Pharaoh. That nigga got weird ambitions. Pharaohs weren't good leaders. like that's why the whole system of having a pharaoh fell apart. Like an empire is a racket. That's one thing a lot of black people, we got to get over. We keep worshiping. This is one of the real reasons why we be falling back, is because we keep worshiping a system and a way of life that's meant to exploit people like us in our position. You shouldn't aspire to just be at the top of an exploitation system. You should aspire to truly eradicate, remove, and replace an exploitation system, right? You don't want to be a hoe trying to hoe as hard as you can so one day you can be the top hoe or you can be the pimp. Like that's not the system you want to put yourself into. But you got a lot of these black power niggas, and when you really listen to them, these niggas just want to be the white dude. They just want to be the black version of the white dude. You listen to some of the goofy ass shit he fantasizes about how he would deal with conflict resolution, and about how he would deal with getting people to do what he want to do. It's like, nigga, this ain't the Remember the Times video. You're not the Pharaoh. Nigga, calm down. Your name is Stuart. Calm down, Stuart. Just be real. When them white folks come and they add you're Stuart, nigga. Be real. But the nigga said white people statistics. When it's look at this. If the statistics that white people use to conduct business as usual in America are this bad, let's use the white people's statistics. If the damn white people's statistics are saying people in Louds County, Alabama live in third world conditions, that the UN, White People Organization and Institution, is coming down to the United States, White People Organization and Institution, and saying, hey man, Louds County, Alabama is worst statistically, white people stats, worst statistically than any third world country we have ever seen. And our job is to go into third world countries. If that's what white people stats are saying, let's fucking use white people stats, nigga. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? This is how people talk to black Americans. He talked to us like we're fucking stupid. I didn't believe a word else this nigga said. He clout chased ADOS. There was a point in time where ADOS was a hot thing to talk about on black YouTube. It wasn't a political movement for anybody that wasn't down with it. Niggas that's down with ADOS take politics seriously. I see all these dumbass videos. What happened to ADOS? Them niggas been having meetings since ADOS started. Real chapter meetings. Niggas was using Teams since before Corona, nigga. Niggas is really having meetings where if you miss the shit, people will follow you up with PDFs. People are using Trello, right? Like, it's not a game. Niggas are having actual, people are actually taking minutes. There's actual chapters being formed. Niggas had to go do paperwork because it was getting out of hand. What ADOS was not prepared for was the black scammer class, the black clout chase class that we're into now. You had niggas out there. Think about it. You fighting to get reparations for your people, trying to strike while the iron is hot, when the Democratic and Republican Party are most vulnerable, and it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity. And you got to worry about your own people stealing and trying to copyright your shit and have fake ADOS so they can sell t-shirts. Niggas is worried about the t-shirts. That's how small-minded niggas was when ADOS came out. Niggas was, man, why y'all making t-shirts? How come we can't? Y'all making t-shirts? How much money you making off them shirts, though? Because they're thinking with their small-minded, scamming, flim-flamming ass. They're thinking how quickly can they collect a go. Niggas only talk online so they can get enough attention so they can collect a GoFundMe or a super chat or a motherfucking Cash App drop. That's all niggas really be trying to do. They be trying to fake a revolution. We need to do something. And that's why you need to donate to my $100 million power for the people. That shit went to go pay off some taxes or something. Like, just keep it real. And that's at all levels of the game, by the way, from the penny Eddie niggas on YouTube all the way up to the head of Black Lives Matter. What did it all come down to? The bitches was buying properties and she was letting her family live in. She just flat out said that on air. Yeah. How I help the people. We're about Black Lives Matter, and the black lives in my family matter so much that I got to put them in these homes that I bought on the coast of California. It's all just a hustle for them. So they can come up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what this shit really be about. You're a power, you're a resource to them. You're able to create critical mass. You're able to create enough noise and attention that people have to pay attention to what you're talking about. So they rile black people up and they leave them off at the pier. So when a group comes by giving you real stats and homework and making you put in effort and be deliberate in what you're talking about and know what you're talking about. Man, I once remember I heard that nigga Taz, Nyla Says and Taz. I remember one time, and he normally be talking some real shit, but I heard that nigga Taz one time say, oh man, ADOS is a book club. The nigga was trying to clown because we actually have book sessions to research certain portions of history, book sessions to group research politics and actual policy in certain areas. Shit, to really know what we're talking about when we apply, certain pressure in certain local areas, to really know and be on point. The nigga thought that an insult was ADOS is a book club. Like, oh, there's a bunch of nerds. Yeah, nigga, we's a bunch of nerds. Like, that's the whole point. We're nerds that read the shit. We read the manual. We pay attention to shit. We don't just collect little clips of knowledge so that we sound smart in our videos and our clipping. Hey, man, guess about this new Illuminati, but fuck all that shit. We're talking real numbers right now. We're talking real issues right now. We're talking a real thing we could have grabbed onto if we would have stayed on point. All you niggas, all you little clout chasing, hashtag chasing ass niggas that was making ADOS videos and was just turning it solely into ADOS versus African bullshit so you guys could get likes and tweets and all that kind of shit. All y'all who was only parlaying that. I would see ADOS videos that didn't have nothing to do with politics or reparations, right? It was just niggas talking jive because it was the thing to talk about. All you niggas who did that and didn't do the slightest lick of research on what ADOS was about and was repulsed to find out that there was homework, right? Understand that ADOS ain't went nowhere. Niggas didn't go underground. Niggas been doing the same thing they've been doing. Y'all just didn't show up to the meetings. And that's why it cracks me up that this nigga Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton, right? For all of the shit he be talking about black organization and staying on focus and all this shit. The nigga was talking live on air for one episode when he had officially, quote unquote, got out. See, the real reason why he got out of ADOS is because ADOS people are educated to the point to where we don't fall for people like his bullshit. He realized, you see, I remember when he switched over and tried to talk about ADOS topics and the nigga was out of sorts. The nigga was out of sorts. The nigga didn't know that ADOS, we're about knowing about all politics in your local area as well as nationally. And the nigga was out of sorts. He didn't know about shit going down in his own city. Didn't know about shit going down in his own city until it was too late. He didn't have topics to talk about. See, he likes to talk about far and away African fantasy shit and street shit. He's good at that shit. He always got an opinion on the problem with the black man and the black woman. He wasn't comfortable talking about policy and how these white folks be whipping us around. He had a couple of good episodes. He gave it a good effort at first, but he couldn't be disciplined because it's not something he's interested in. See, a lot of these YouTubers, man, what they do is they look at shit that they're interested in online, whatever the hot topic is, and they feed their audience with it. And his audience is mostly a bunch of, I'll say, part-time Pan-Africanist. That's his audience. That's his audience. So when he started kicking a lot of that ADOS shit, which is hard, gritty, raw facts and reality, his followers wasn't with it and his shit started dropping off. I saw that shit. And sure enough, he couldn't resist and he went back to his African Fantasyland shit. That's cool. Do what you do. But don't start talking shit on the way back out because the ADOS attack lion couldn't fucking hang. Right? You went out there and put yourself out there like damn Cameron and Paid in Full and was like, I'm the ADOS attack lion. But then you're going to get out because you talk about ADOS argue too much and they always argue. Nigga, you came in on bullshit. And speaking of came in, you never came. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Niggas thought that ADOS was some YouTube, Instagram, social media shit where niggas only exist online. You don't hear about no Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton doing shit but driving for Uber outside of the computer. And he always talking about niggas is acting like they outside. He's a regular dude outside of this shit with a regular life and a regular job, a regular means of employment. He's a regular nigga like you and me. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not even a diss. But I'm talking about because of that, all that rah-rah shit he talk on YouTube stay on YouTube. Like you can tell by the way he be talking. This is like a means of like exercising demons and shit. Because he can't talk that shit to people when he's driving them around all day. You just got to keep that shit inside. So when he go home, he record them little videos and he gets to be the Pharaoh and all that shit. You see them niggas when they used to drive cabs back in the day where they used to have the little beaded little thing on their little car seat and shit and drive around. They got the motherland shit all on the dashboard and they playing Bob Marley. But hey, man, where you going to, man? Hey, man, Main Street. Hey, man. Back in the day, them cab drivers used to be able to talk to you. You would get character from them niggas. A dude like him would be a dope-ass cab driver, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he be telling you all kinds of shit about Haile Selassie and shit while he drop you off at the mall or something like that. This nigga's dope, you know? But nowadays, you driving for Uber and shit, you can't be doing all that in the car. You got to keep that car spritzed and clean and shit like that. And you can, hi, sir, you got to wear your mask. And he got to drive niggas around. And he be boiling over with what he want to say. So when he get home, he be recording 2-3 episodes a night and shit and just putting it out. And you can say anything to black folks. You don't got to have no research to anything. You can just tell niggas anything. Anybody call you out on a factual error, you can just cuss them the fuck out. We ain't nobody to really be true with. That's how niggas like him think of us. We're a lick. You running around downtown and shit like that on subways trying to sell niggas incense and tell them about, you know, Idi Amin and shit like that. You can tell niggas anything. Give us a little feel-good story, jive with us a little bit. Hey, man, that'll be $10. Okay, boom. We're just a hustle market to you. That's how these type of black scammer class niggas think of us. And it come out when something like ADOS. See, ADOS did two things. A lot of these black scammer class, these Fantasyland Black Panther, black Pan-Africanist type of niggas, it does two things these niggas don't like. One, it makes niggas have to actually earn it. It makes you have to do work. It makes you actually have to sit down and research how you're going to deal with these white folks who you're going to be going up against. All the shit he said he want black folks to do, right? And two, it brings finality to all this shit we've been talking. You see, the dirty little secret with a lot of these Pan-Africans is that they secretly really don't want black folks to come up in any kind of way. They don't want black folks to ever really, black folks in America specifically, they don't want black folks in America to feel like, yeah, you know what? I don't got to have a longing for Africa. You know, I respect what they're doing over there, and peace to black folks in Africa and all over the world, but I don't really have a longing to be going over to Africa and moving. Just being realistic, I have money here now, and I'm going to invest here, and we can. Oh, that would terrify them. If people didn't have a desire and a longing to hear about all that fantasy shit, that ruins that whole market for them niggas. Black folks happy isn't something that a lot of people want. And that includes the black scammer class. It's almost like if you was a drug dealer, would you want all of a sudden all your junkies to all of a sudden just be cured and not have a desire for drugs? Yeah, I don't really have a need to take cocaine anymore, man. I'm high off life, man. I found a woman that's if all your junkies all of a sudden just got, you wouldn't be like, oh, good for you. You'd be like, oh shit, there goes my lick. How am I gonna make money now? These niggas is all drug free. Oh no. That feely good, that little good feeling you get from feeling like you're in Wakanda and shit like that, or you can have Wakanda, that's a drug to a lot of people. It's no different than trying to sell people the American dream. It's no different. So when something like ADOS comes along and says, hey, man, forget all that bullshit. We just want our money and to be out. We want our money and we don't want to deal with any of that fantasy land stuff. We're going to get our money as a people. We're going to start identifying ourselves as a people. We're not going to do this mishmash confusion thing where everybody who's black is a black American if they're on American soil. No, we're not playing that game. You see, and this is another thing that people don't want to admit. People try to make it seem like ADOS. I want to almost make a whole separate episode for this, just to explain this one simple ass thing about how you can tell people been insincere about this whole argument. If ADOS would have been coming out saying they want to get reparations from America for every single buddy black in the country, ADOS would be more popular than Black Lives Matter. ADOS would be more popular than Black Lives Matter if ADOS would have been coming out with the momentum we did, talking that reparations for all black people all over the world. We could have been phony. We could have been phony and said that shit. And then in the details been like, but here in America, we're talking about for black Americans. And then over there in the UK, and we like ADOS could have been funky monkey like that and been insincere and came out like that in the beginning. And people would have been rocking ADOS gear. They'd have been on the street corners with signs and shit. Niggas would have been going crazy because every black person in the world, and especially every black person, black immigrant included, would have felt like they would have benefited. That's the only real reason why a lot of niggas was anti-ADOS. And they tried to make it seem like because ADOS wasn't trying to be the lick for everybody, because ADOS is based purely off of a statistical, historical argument. It's not about white folks was mean to us. It's about this specific goddamn group was excluded specifically based off of these actions documented by government, national, federal law. Not if you came here willingly later. We're not defining it by skin tone. This isn't a police brutality law. That's why we've been saying we have a black agenda for everybody black. But for this specific thing right here, if you want to start this shit, see, this is why people wanted to start reparations talks at Jim Crow. So you can get Latinos and shit on there and people who are LGBT. Everybody wants to be the lick. And if they can't be the lick, they don't want to be an ally. That's where the real pride, it wasn't no ADOS's divisive shit. It wasn't no ADOS's divisive shit. You guys turned a lot of this into personal arguments because the second Africans realized they weren't going to get on with no licks, they started making it real personal and doing what they always do, siding with white folk. See, this ADOS conversation, it really sparked a lot of issues that were already there in the black community between Africans and African Americans. Sparked a lot of issues, black Americans. You can keep that African right now. We're going to put that on hold right now. It sparked a lot of issues that were already there, already bubbling under the surface between black Americans and Africans. Didn't nobody divide shit. You know when you got those papers that have that little dotted line that you can just pull and tear at the bank when you get your check or something like that? Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that if that line wasn't there. There's already a separation there. There's already a guide for a separation there. That's how we was. And this shit just exposed it. And it makes sense. You're statistically arguing. You're arguing from the numbers as to why you're getting this money. You're going to need performance indicators with the same stats to show that the money is working to improve the conditions. See, that was the first thing I noticed about. See, when it came to the black community, ADOS was an intelligence test and niggas failed miserably. I noticed a lot of problems. Reading and comprehension, math, history, hell, even language arts. You niggas was failing up and down the board. You niggas didn't read shit. There was a whole website called ADOS 101 that straight up told you everything ADOS was planning to do, the tactics, the strategy, the argument, just straight up told you in a document. Not even a long website. It was more open and upfront than the Black Lives Matter website that we also didn't read, that flat out was saying they wanted to erase black men from the family. You know what I'm saying? Like, also, the only person that read, the only person amongst all the black YouTube that read or even talked about or even made an attempt, even though it was a negative attempt, but I welcome people who critique something that are at least well-researched, was Jason Black. Bravo to Jason Black. That nigga was not a fan of ADOS, but at least he had the damn mindset. At least he had the intelligence to go, let me research them and say why I don't like them. Cool. Let me research and pinpoint what I don't like about this tactic. All right, now we can argue on that. We can have those debates. But don't just tell me they using white folks stats. What the fuck? If you're talking about something that happened on the news, you're using white folks' news. You want to just dismiss the shit? These type of people, they like keeping their followers dumb because really their followers don't come for information. People who watch Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton, they don't come there for information. They come there for feel good. They come for tell me a bedtime story. He's a great dude to listen to as you about to drift off to La La Land and you want to fly off to El Kebulon and hear about, it's like listening to John Henrik Clarke or something. Those are white people's stats that you niggas are, all them numbers. So look at this. When Antonio Moore says there are more black people, there are more black men there are more black men in America in prison than all women of all colors in prison in the world combined, in an effort to show you how skewed, like you don't get something that egregious. You don't get a stat that stands out that hard without there being something in the system that's making it do that. That's unfair. Right? The first rule of cheating on a test is you never get 100 on the test. It just shows you cheated on the test, right? It's statistical outliers that ADOS is using to prove and quantify systematic racism, right? Which has been historically the most successful approach, right? You want to dismiss that. You want to dismiss that stat that there are more black men in America in prison than all women of all colors in the world combined, that ADOS uses to show how black men are mistreated in the system. You want to say, it's white people's stats. See, we got to quit looking at them. We need to come up with our own stats. We need black stats. We need stats that got red, black, and green letters in them. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton? Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? Those are white people stats. When they're able to go back on record and show that white people who owned slaves got reparations and the goddamn slaves didn't. When they're able to use the stats and show, like, people act like after slavery, all the slaves and all the slave masters like got sucked into a vortex like the house and Poltergeist. And then they just brought in new niggas and brought in new white folks and said, let's start over. Let's just, no, the money didn't go nowhere. The shit just got transferred. Money is like energy. Only it can be created, but it doesn't get destroyed like that. It just gets circulated. These people got all their money back. The same people that run cotton now ran cotton back then. The money didn't damn go nowhere. We just started throwing all these racist statues in the water last year. This shit didn't go nowhere. You can tally up the money owed. That's the crazy part about it. Look what you guys messed up. We had white folks so on the run, we had them calculating the shit. There was CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News segments on how much reparations would cost. And you don't understand the language that the media is talking when they're doing something like that. Even if they're doing segments saying reparations would be too costly and not feasible, right? But they're putting dollar amounts on it. What they're really doing is floating numbers out. Why would you even put a number out there? You see Fox doing a segment saying, statistics show that 83% of Americans wouldn't be in favor of reparations. And the total figure was actually coming to an unprecedented 6.2 quadrillion. They're telling you, nigga, you see the same channels tell you that 80% of Americans aren't in favor of goddamn immigration. And then they'll tell you on the next segment, look at the border. They're here. And so here's how we're going to start letting them in. It's going down. They're managing this. Reparations is going to happen. Even if there was no real effort put in a movement, it was going to happen. But whether or not reparations is 6.2 quadrillion, 150 million a head, and free college, and all these type of things and wonderful shit it should be to get a people back on track, or it's a 1-year subscription to the Jelly of the Month Club and a picture with the president, is up to what we actually do to drive the narrative. And you niggas taking this conversation all off course because you don't like, quote unquote, motherfucking white people stats is goddamn infuriating, man. Shit's crazy. It exposed a lot of people. It showed, you know what I'm saying? You going to jump off the bridge and say you the ADOS attack line 1 minute. Didn't nobody ask for you? You could have just stayed off in your corner talking your El Kebulan fantasy shit. Would nobody have been mad? Let's talk about it. Would nobody have been mad? You doing your thing. But people started seeing, if I put this ADOS hashtag in my title, I don't got to talk about anything ADOS is about. I don't got to research anything about what ADOS is actually about. But if I just put this ADOS hashtag in my title, my shit gonna jump. My shit gonna jump. But you didn't get that reaction. So you had to jump out quick. You jumped in and volunteered yourself as the goddamn ADOS attack lion and forgot that most of your followers are like older African niggas and shit, or Afrocentric niggas. They didn't want to hear you beefing with Africans and telling the truth on how them Africans really be and how the makeup and the layout really be. I would see the comments. Man, stop talking about this. Man, I miss your old shows. Man, so he went back to his old shit. He changed it back to original Coke. And good for him, man. I'm happy for the nigga. But keep ADOS name out your motherfucking mouth, nigga. Telling me we argue too much and shit. Like, you don't know what the fuck we do. Because I lost all respect for this nigga the day he got an episode. He got about 6 episodes with ADOS in the title. He was trying to clout chase. And the last one, this dude flat out says, this shows you how unresearched Pharaoh Ramesses El Ton is when it comes to ADOS and what ADOS has been doing and what ADOS wants and all that shit. This nigga live on air was saying ADOS argue too much. They don't be about no organization. They don't be about no real politics. They don't really be in the streets affecting policy locally in the communities. And then someone in the comments said, hey man, there's an ADOS chapter, Chicago chapter, and they're actually having meetings right now, and they're sitting in they're actually talking to the Chicago ombudsman, and they're really getting things done. Are you going to be in those meetings? He said, nah, I don't do the meetings and shit. Wait a minute. So you was just complaining. You was just complaining that ADOS don't be on the local city councils and really in the streets and really doing things for the community. And then when a nigga tells you that we've been doing that all this time, right? And that there's chapters in your area, in the Chicago area that you be claiming all the time. And you can just hop, skip, and jump your happy black ass down there and join in at any time. Now all of a sudden you don't do. So you was just bullshitting the whole time, right? 1 minute, it's ridiculous that Eddie Murphy said you put your boots up on his couch. And then the next minute, yeah, I put my feet on Eddie Murphy's couch. That Pan-Africanism is a hell of a drug, man. That shit's a hell of a drug. You niggas will do anything to hold on to that fantasy. See, ADOS was coming in like the nothing from the never-ending story and taking away all that shit. We wasn't going to hear you talking about Marcus Garvey. We don't hear that shit right now. We trying to get this money. ADOS had niggas talking money stats. ADOS had niggas fantasizing what they were going to do with that money. And that scared the shit out of y'all. That scared the shit out of y'all, that you guys were going to get turned off. See, the name of the game out here is influence now. You see how the black church ain't got no influence on the black community no more. TD Jakes is nervous. He only talked to old black folks. By the next generation, you ain't even going to hear about people going to church no more. That's going to be real weird. You don't like white people's stats, but you use white people's stats to berate black people and show how far behind we are. We don't got a black this. We don't got a black that. We don't got a black this. Yeah, nigga, but you're using statistics. You have to look up a business index to see who owns all this, who owns that. All the stuff you use to show how much Africa's getting robbed. All the stuff you use to show how black people ain't got shit, right? But when we want to use the stats for something, now they're white people stats. Now they're white people stats. That was the corniest cop-out. That was the corniest excuse to say why he don't fuck with an ideology like ADOS. Because it makes him do homework. It makes him have to actually research some shit that's worthwhile. That's modern today. This is the same nigga that said you don't need history. When the context of history in this country is exactly what black people are lacking for their argument, for what they are entitled to. Niggas want to talk fantasy shit. Well, I'm a quarter goddamn Cherokee. How's that translate into right now? Is you being a quarter Cherokee mean you can prove it and now you can go get some money from the Cherokee tribe? No? Okay, then shut the fuck up. We're trying to get some. I can't stand a nigga that feel like he can speak for me. If you don't want to get no money from this nigga, cool. Then say, hey man, I'll sign an exemption. But you sit your ass in the back. Sit your ass in the back. ADOS happened to come along at a time. See, you guys, humans never want to talk about how humans interact with things. They want to blame the behavior on the thing. Oh man, this social media, man, it got people. No, people are like this. And now we finally got the technology to catch up to the way people want to behave. People would have been doing this. All the goofy shit people do on social media, they used to write on the bathroom wall back in the day. All the goofy shit people do on social media, they used to get their kicks off watching America's Funniest Home Video. Now we just have a technology that lets us do this goofy shit at a more effective rate. This is who it exposes who we are. The technology didn't change shit. And just like that, ADOS exposed who a lot of these niggas are. It shows you can give somebody the platform. You can give them the recipe. You could have the momentum. And they'll fuck it up because they really don't want it. These niggas really don't want it for you, black people. They don't really want to see you come up. Niggas like Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton don't want to see you come up. Because who would he sell that Pan-African drug to if you was high off life now, right? Who would he sell that to? Why would you help your customer not need you anymore? People don't have an appetite, just like the black church. People don't have an appetite for that Pan-African shit here in America when the actual Africans they're meeting. See, in the 60s and shit like that, it was rare that you'd meet an African. And the African nigga you would meet would be everything that you got taught. Oh, nigga, cool. You know what I'm saying? He's a proud 2021, that African nigga is a grinning, cockeyed, beady bastard that wants to take your spot, that can't stand you, that'll happily take sides with the white man right in front of you in order to curry favor with white society. He don't like you. He ain't never cared about you. He's an immigrant. He can't stand you just like the Indian immigrant can't stand you. Just like the Asian immigrant can't stand you. Just like the Mexican immigrant is firebombing your homes in LA after you've been standing side by side helping these niggas immigrate into the country. And now that they got their numbers up, surprise, surprise, these niggas is all Nazi lowriders on us. Like, people be forgetting. People be forgetting. Y'all want to play with us. ADOS came in making moves. ADOS came in scaring the shit out of white folks. And you niggas, as always, I can't even sit back and call people agents or none of that shit because it wasn't done in a coordinated, effective fashion. It was just niggatry. It was just niggas stumbling and bumbling, fighting to be in the front, fighting to get some shine. Niggas will undermine an entire movement for shine. Niggas will undermine an entire movement trying to Harlem shake their ass to the front and take that. Niggas always want to Stokely Carmichael their ass in the front and start taking shit over and fucking up what you working on. See, people like the phrase black power, right? But I like to research where that phrase came from and the context in which it came from. And that phrase, although we love it, was used at a time where it was undermining MLK when he's trying to do the damn SNCC movement. MLK's approach wasn't to come in all confrontational and black power crackers and all this shit. He whether you agree with them or not, the nigga was making moves under his movement, doing his thing his way for the people. And it was effective. And then niggas wait until you get a big enough crowd and try to grab the mic. And that's what Stokely Carmichael's bitch ass did. Y'all, yo, we love Kwame too. Fuck all that shit. You moving reckless like that, doing for your own. Do for self don't mean look out only for yourself. You don't say so. You don't undermine what the hell the leader is doing. It make the whole team look weak. So while we love the phrase black power, it's ironic to me that the creation of the phrase black power was done undermining black power. You cutting MLK off from the kneecap, showing that he got people in his ranks that there's dissension. And white folks is watching that. All black movements was infiltrated and spied on. All of them. We know now they were sending letters to MLK. So we know they was watching him. So you're supposed to have an organization. You're working with people. And here go this nigga doing his own thing, breaking rank. Showing the enemy, oh, these niggas ain't really organized like we think. I wish somebody would do a movie like The Last Days of MLK to show you the bullshit he had to go through with his own people trying to undermine him and trying to get shine and all the spies and Judases that were around him. that he had to deal. Niggas. There's videotapes right now of reverends and pastors that was with him on his last days, slipping and admitting that they were part of him getting killed. Oh, only as I moved away so that they could get a clear shot. Oops, my bad. Oh, praise Jesus. You think I'm playing? You're trying to run an organization. You're trying to get a movement going. You're pressing a message to white folks saying this is what we are. And before you can finish what we, here go one of the we saying some different black power crackers and you niggas. Oh no. Oh no. What's this nigga doing? It's not like MLK would come to Black Panther meetings when, you know what I'm saying? Because them niggas was young back then and just budding up. It's not like he would go to militant black people's meetings and, hey, y'all need to chill, man. We grabbing the mic. Hey, white folks, we not coming. We not. No, he wouldn't do that. He'd mind his business. But here you are getting in his organization so you can flip and turn it to your bullshit. Undermining Martin Luther King. There's always some undermining shit. And not unlike Stokely Carmichael coming in and undermining MLK. Not only like that, here go this nigga. He gonna jump in and be the ADOS attack lion. You name yourself the ADOS attack lion, that lets people know you on bullshit. You wasn't the ADOS philosopher. You wasn't the ADOS teacher. You wasn't even the ADOS student. You wasn't paying attention to none of this shit. You wasn't really trying to know what it was about. You was just trying to clout chase. So you came in, you thought it was some African versus African American shit. So you came in trying to bang first and be the ADOS attack lion and yada, yada, yada. And that didn't go the way you thought. So then you had to do a goddamn reverse course and start talking shit about ADOS. Nigga, just quit talking about ADOS. Niggas wasn't calling you back. You wasn't at a meeting. Wait. As a matter of fact, nigga, you a gang member, right? So let's do it like, nigga, you ain't from ADOS. No, I'm playing. Let me stop, nigga. We're nerds. We're a book club, right? Like you're not really putting in no work to where you could speak for, oh man, I'm shit. Man, these niggas argue too much. Don't fuck with them. Don't, nigga, the people that follow you weren't even really following ADOS like that. It's not like you had some big influence to where when all your little followers heard that you was ADOS officially, they all moved to ADOS. And now when you revoke it, they all move back. Nigga, you're not Malcolm. You're just one dude that was like, I'm going to watch some shows from Yvette Carnell. Remember I said, you're a YouTube nigga. You're just one dude that was one YouTube tick on her channel. And you didn't like watching her channel. So you said, I'm no longer going to watch her channel. That's what you did. That's what you did. You said, I'm not going to be a part of her channel. I'm not going to subscribe anymore. So you should have said, I've unsubscribed from the ADOS YouTube channel, nigga. But don't act like, oh, I'm shit. The attack lion's out, y'all. We can't like we're going to have to, figure out how to reorganize our forces because we've lost our general. Nigga, didn't nobody miss you? That was part of the goddamn problem Yvette was having, is that she's the only person doing the videos trying to explain shit to people. Now, if you was part of an echo chamber for ADOS content, like she talks about something one night and then you talk about it and expound on it further and you bring a different angle and perspective to the same topic, yeah, that helps the topic become something that black folks are conversating and thinking about. But you couldn't do that and keep up with that content because you want to do Peter Pan-Africanism. You want to do magical fantasy shit that has no conclusion. You want to do shit like, what if Spider-Man fought Superman? You want to do shit like that. When niggas is trying to really start a real organization, one that's not started by and funded by white folks secretly and used to funnel money into white folks like Black Lives Matter. You look at Black Lives Matter and go, they get things done. Yeah, how? Nigga, how do they get that? That shit's smoke and mirrors. That's how $90 million can disappear and not touch nary a nigga. You want shit. See, you want shit like that. Pharaoh Ramesses El Aton wants shit like that. He would love if his little $100 million Power to the People campaign had raised a bunch of money on some black tragedy because everybody's feeling emotional and everybody's throwing him money because they're sick of this shit and they want to go do. And then all of a sudden the money just disappeared. All of a sudden the money just go gadget. The money just, I don't know where the man. Oh man, black folks, goddamn it. How many black folks been in them bullshit money blessing groups and shit like that? And by the time your name come around, I've been hacked. Everybody's money gone, right? How many Bitcoin? Like, look at these niggas. Look at Pharaoh. Look at these niggas. And these niggas all of a sudden becoming Bitcoin experts. They telling you what stocks to buy. They don't know none of this shit. And they're under no obligations to know none of this shit. So when the Bitcoin money the nigga done told you to invest into go tits up in 2 weeks and you come back, he gonna tell you, nigga, that was on you. So a person like that don't like something like ADOS where you're held to something. We got to be serious and have some conviction about some shit. At least Tariq Nasheed was smart enough to actually, mechanize something with this and go, all right, man, I know there's a group of black people that like the energy that ADOS is bringing, but they don't really want to do nothing about it. And they don't really want to talk about that politics shit. That's too much work. They just want to talk about some bullshit and go, yeah, we proud of being black American. And there was already an appetite for that. I'm not even hating. I said that kind of negative, but I'm genuinely not even hating. Because there was already an appetite for that. See, the animosity that was getting intentionally built up between Africans and black Americans by this system and that Africans were happy to be a part of, that shit was blowing up so hard, low key, that ADOS was a blessing that it came along when it did. Because if it didn't, the other outlet would have been violence. Shit would have started getting just like South Africa and the Nigerians. The outlet would have been violence. And ADOS came along and put some intelligent venting in that situation. But for those that aren't able to express themselves in that way, and for those who aren't really willing to put in the work to make change for it, if you just want to talk about it and then talk about things that make you feel better and talk about things historically where you was top dogging and shit and set records straight historically, there's FBA. FBA is more historical. FBA is more cultural. That's cool. To be honest with you, I like the term. See, and you can tell by the terms. You can tell what somebody's about and what some group's about by the term in which they describe themselves. People who don't like the term ADOS don't like defining themselves as a slave. But I always tell them, you're not defining yourself as a slave. You're defining your descendancy is from slavery, which is actually a bragging point considering what you've come from and what you're going to get. But it's a matter of accuracy. ADOS wants to define your name, wants to define your identity by an accurate depiction of what you come from to distinguish yourself from other nondescript blacks who may have come here from other means, right? FBA is more focused on, and this isn't a bad thing, FBA is more focused on establishing not so much the lineage of what you come from for the sake of accuracy, but setting the record straight as far as your importance to this country. And that although you come from slavery, you're not low, you're foundational. But both of them mean the same thing. Someone could say, no, being foundational is much better than being a slave. But what does a foundation do? A foundation holds everything else up. A foundation gets stepped on forever. A foundation is always under somebody's feet. So being foundational can be something that can be seen both positively and negatively, right? Now, being seen as a slave can only really be seen negatively. But it's the descendancy from slavery. And as far as status, and legacy, it's ascendancy. You've risen from that. So there's two ways to look at both of it. And both of them are accurate identifications. I'm fine with both. But as far as this political justice claim, ADOS, right? Because being a foundational black American is a good flattering term. But when we're trying to specify who's going to get the justice claim, based on that it's from slavery, we want the descendants of the slavery. This is what's the same as the dreamers. See, a lot of black folks don't even know that term dreamers for immigrants is a direct insult and encroachment on black power and on black civil rights. Guess who's goddamn dreaming? They're talking about their Martin Luther King's dream. So they're commandeering a dream that MLK had for his people who descended from slavery. They're commandeering that terminology and commandeering that narrative for immigrants, calling them the dreamers. Black Americans should be the dreamers because they still haven't realized Martin Luther King's goddamn dream, right? So those are the little plays on words where I said you guys are failing in math because y'all don't know how to count how much you're owed and you're sitting there settling for less. I said y'all are failing history because you guys haven't put any of this into context, what ADOS has been trying to do and show you why you want to start this shit at slavery and not Jim Crow or redlining or some bullshit so everybody can get on. This is about you. You have been used as a credit card for this country, for them to do everything from bringing immigrants to provide women's rights. You have been used as the credit card for this country. You're the reason why this country's been more prosperous than any country before it. And so therefore, you know what you're owed if you know your history. So you done failed language arts. You done failed history. You done failed math. Shit, even damn sociology. Right? And so you're being miseducated by these fanabi-dabi niggas who are very, very good at providing you certain elements of facts. There's a lot of shit he says that's true. But the best liars are the liars that know how to weave facts and truth into their lies and narratives. I could sit here and tell you, it's a fact that every marriage in the world that'll ever happen and that has ever happened has either ended in divorce or death. Everybody's going to die. So every marriage has technically ended in divorce or death. Can I then use that to make the narrative that marriage is bad because all marriages, 50% of marriages end in divorce and the other 50% end in death? That's my reason for why marriages are bad. Like, no, that's a stupid way to argue something, but I'm using facts. I didn't lie. I used facts to lie. This is what niggas do to black people. They hit you with a jive game. He's a jive ass nigga. He's a hit me on the black hand side. Can you find out where the dice is on the three bowls? You know what I'm saying? Switching hot two, ziggity boom bam boo ass nigga on the street. When you walk down Vegas streets and you see niggas dressed up like Michael Jackson and shit, moonwalking for change. Niggas that are, and they call themselves hustlers. Hey man, I'm hustling. I'm a businessman. Okay, you work hard to get your little money, but you get your money siphoning off of people's charity. It's not a goddamn business. People aren't walking around looking for those incense. Like, let's keep it real. People aren't walking around, hey, man, I've been running from city to city just trying to find these damn T-shirts and incense. No. You catch people at events and shit, and you shake them down. You shake them down for, you know how that shit go. And that's fine. It still means you work hard. But you know the mentality of a nigga like that when applied to this shit, when we're doing serious shit, and you going to say, those is white people stats. Focus on me talking about goddamn, young Pharaoh and some bullshit. We don't hear about that shit. You hopped into an audience that wasn't for you. You hopped into an audience that has an appetite for political knowledge and political power. You hopped into an audience that feels like going the political path is the way to achieve what we want to achieve. We don't want to go, the damn marching path. We don't want to go the phony black business literacy path. Like, all you guys don't realize you're getting sucked. You got niggas that got financial literacy classes to how to be a millionaire like Boyce Watkins who don't got no money. Y'all know when y'all buy them books on how to become a millionaire and shit, the nigga became a millionaire off of selling the book to you, right? He's supposed to be a millionaire already. At least a scammer like Grant. See, Grant Cardone, the white boy, is a high level scammer to where, yeah, he's scamming people, but he went and got successful at hustling people first, then started selling people the bullshit. By the time you see Grant Cardone, he really got that money. It's off of schemes and hustles and steals and backwater deals. But he's got that money. You got a nigga like Boyce Watkins trying to tell you how to be financially literate, but he's selling you goddamn flashcards with typos in them. He's selling you whatever can. This nigga Boyce Watkins is Billy Mays. This nigga selling you whatever he can sell you any day. Every day you see Boyce Watkins. Hi, Boyce Watkins here. I'm selling you a trip to Ghana. That's why I'm wearing this curtain. This nigga selling you Bitcoin 1 minute and trips to Ghana the next. That's what these niggas want to do, man. They want to use the black community like it's QVC. You selling us blenders and shit and forming grills. That's what these niggas. As a matter of fact, Pharaoh Ramesses El Atan literally got an episode. I'm gonna try to look for it. He got an episode. Oh, by the way, the episode where he's talking about how ADOS uses white people's stats is called "Black Crime is Necessary in the Black Community," which, as a side note, I do agree with. But that's a sidebar. But in the first 15 minutes, niggas says crime is unnecessary. ADOS is arguing and they use white people's stats, which just made no sense. But he also has an episode, if I remember correctly, he has an episode, and I'm paraphrasing, entitled like, black celebrities are supposed to use the black community, or you're supposed to use the black community. It's like, no, nigga, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not supposed to just take the black community is like a leave a penny, take a penny at a store where everybody done took all the damn pennies. Don't no one leave a penny. Don't no one come back. Them little charity little drops you do and you hook people up in the hood, that don't mean shit. You haven't changed nothing. Nipsey was coming in trying to change shit. You see what happened to him. And you know why they did him like that? Y'all say, oh, it's the game. No, man, it's because niggas don't want to see niggas get people out of the situation when they benefit in any way from them being in that situation. You wouldn't want to help all the crackheads get off of crack if you're a crack dealer, nigga. That's how it works. ADOS uses white people stats. This is the shit we got to deal with. This is the shit historically real black movements have had to deal with. Is you have to get through that film of fat. You have to trim that fat of niggas that's on bullshit. That's going to resist you because, we got to actually do shit. I thought it was going to be different because they thought it was going to be their personal black power fantasy. You thought this shit was going to go like the movies. You thought this shit was going to go like we was going to all be on Warrior Falls and there was going to be a one-on-one. No. We're trying to really do actual shit. We got to sit down. These niggas, like, this stuff people don't like. Martin Luther King had to sit down with Lyndon B. Johnson, having him call him a nigger to his face and shit like that. He had to sit down with that nigga because that's the ruler of the white folk. So you got to sit down with them. You want some kind of policy changed, going into the room with someone like Lyndon B. Johnson under those circumstances is like going into the room of the Matrix and talking directly to the architect. That's what politics is. When you have a representative that can get to the highest heights of politics, they can just get shit done as a policy. They can just change some shit. This is why Martin Luther King said people, they love Malcolm X, and I love Malcolm X. You love all these leaders and you appreciate what they did to stand up and speak the truth for your people and all that kind of stuff. But once you do that and you're actually stacking them in a hierarchy, a lot of them don't stack up to MLK because MLK got policy change. And brothers back in the 1800s. They got policy change. They got civil rights laws put on the bill that said, you can't do this to niggers anymore. Like, those type of things made it so for eons to come, niggas that are born in the country are like, remember that rule that says you can't do this to niggas? Like, we get to point to that. Those are the highest level civil rights niggas. The ones that got numbers on the board, policy change. Everybody under that do good speeches and that they have high influence in the black community, that's good. But you're not on the MLK level. Sorry. I know a lot of you niggas like the more fierce black leaders that talk that shit. I get it. I know a lot of y'all don't like how MLK has been changed to be remade into the peaceful nigga. That's how white folks keep making him. I get it. But MLK got points on the board. Period. Even if it was done posthumously, because low key, black folks started whooping ass in them riots, it still happened because MLK got killed. If he didn't have no effect on the black community and they would have killed him, he would have been like any other nigga that got killed back then. And black folks would have just been like, that's messed up. But no, he represented something so big, an organization, that killing him sent the signal to black folks, you can't deal with these people like this. You know there was a big fallout within white society for them killing him, right? That a lot of white folks, not because they felt sorry for King, but because they knew you're gonna fucking make a martyr out of him, you fool. A lot of black people never talk about, because we're not allowed to talk about, never talk about what happened after King got killed and how magic, like if you just look on paper, it looked like MLK got killed one day. Then a few days later, they passed the Civil Rights Bill, which would logically let somebody who wasn't in that time to believe that, you know, they were probably going to pass a Civil Rights Bill anyway, right? And he happened to tragically get killed and didn't get to see it. But it was going to happen either way. Or that, you know, maybe the Civil Rights Bill was possibly on its way to passage. And then with the unfortunate events of his assassination, you know, good, sweet, well-meaning white folks said, you know, it's the best thing to do to just go ahead and put it over the top, right? Bullshit. At the time of MLK, before he got killed, that entire civil rights bill was a laughable DOA. It was dead on arrival. People were campaigning on how they weren't going to vote for that shit. It was a popular thing within white society to say, fuck that civil rights bill. We ain't doing shit. Like, they got a literal speech. Was it Strom Thurmond? Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. You know, saying, like, there was no fear in the environment. There was no fear in the environment to say to hell with no civil rights bill. And you know how you can tell there was no fear in the environment to say to hell with a civil rights bill? Because they shot and killed the guy that made it. They shot and killed the guy that tried to pass it. No, what happened, white folks was in no way trying to associate with no civil rights bill. That thing had no chance of passing. What happened was after they killed him, black folks went Hulk and started tearing shit up from the seat of burning sea. They never talk about this riot. You know this riot was bad because whenever you bring this up, white folks switch the subject to the LA riot. Let's talk about the LA riots. Let's talk about a nice civilized riot that was in one city. No, this shit was every major city. They had snipers in Chicago. This shit was in every major. This was bigger than the George Floyd protest. They killed MLK, nigga. It was so bad. Like, you know how when the George Floyd protest was going down and you had white dudes in Philadelphia walking around with bats, making sure they didn't go anywhere near the black neighborhoods while they were on camera, like some bitches, and you had people trying to act like they was going to try to check the black folks. No, them niggas that was doing that, they had the full Klan out. Skinheads out trying to go, oh, this is our chance to go get rowdy with the niggas. And they was going home leaking. They had police going in there trying to quash the shit. Going home leaking. Talking about, I didn't sign up for this. Yeah, Bull Connor had a sick day that day. That nigga was laying low. We wanted Bull Connor then. Them niggas laid low. Niggas was on savage. Niggas was on dummy. They sent the National Guard in, and they were scared to send the National Guard in because if you send the National Guard in and the National Guard don't, they kept trying to talk about now, National Guard, we don't want to hurt nobody now. I mean, they real tough. But low key, the National Guard was scared shitless. Because if you send the National Guard in, it's all about optics. America was in a war, not a world war. America was in a war with Vietnam at the time, was trying to show strength and unity and solidarity and unity. And you got all this shit going on at home that Vietnam is able to exploit on the battlefield. This is why in Dead Presidents, they're talking about black man go home. That's not your war. Vietnam was able to exploit that. You got Muhammad Ali on the air talking about ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigga while you got this shit going on. Like, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, people don't remember the context of that time, of all the shit that was going on and what America's position was in. Fuck all that civil rights stuff. We're trying to win this war. Oh no, we're falling apart at home. And you got the hippies doing the anti-war protest stuff, and MLK was coming out anti-war. Oh, they took him out probably over that. That right there is just conjecture, in my opinion. Because remember, it's all about influence. People, the common person now is just now with social media starting to see what the bigger, higher up people in the world have been known about influence. How you can just have a nigga who has a hot song and he can influence people to change who's the president's going to be. It's all waves in the water. It's all connected, right? So they know to go grab the influencers right off the bat early. But you got to do like MLK endorsing not messing with the war. Oh, hell no. That's it with him. That's what they look at that as. We just trying to do a deal with you and do this civil rights shit and you going to, no. John F. Kennedy and then later Lyndon B. Johnson, they had so much pressure with that war going on. You had all this going on. And then when King get killed, you have this fallout to where you damn near need to think about this. When I'm talking about the optics, if you got a war going on in Vietnam and the world's watching you and you got all this civil unrest going on at home to the point to where you got to call the National Guard in, your local police and all that won't work. And you got to call the National Guard in, and deep down, you know, you don't got enough National Guard to cover the whole country and fight a war. This is the 60s. This isn't the army that we got now. You don't got the ability to fight a full frontal, ever escalating, dragging on, more expensive and more costly, getting ever closer north to China that we don't want to get involved with right now, war. That's unpopular. And fight a war at home. It's very costly. Let's cut a deal. Let's get these niggas a civil rights bill passed. Magically, that shit passed. That's how the civil rights bill passed. Pressure being applied. Timing. Situation dictates. And it's very important. You know, you said history ain't important, Pharaoh Ramesses Helaton. It's very important young kids understand that, because then we'll go in with the idea that white folks were just kind and we're going to probably do it. No. The only thing that turned them niggas around was an ass whooping. The only thing that turned them around was that people became incensed with an injustice. That was it. And that was only possible because MLK was able to affect change through organization. And he didn't need niggas undermining him to turn it into their own personal bullshit fantasies like how you be doing with your Stokely ass. You keep bringing ADOS up and then mischaracterizing why you couldn't get with the program. If you had said, hey, man, I tried to do the ADOS thing, but, I'm going to be honest, man, I'm not really into them topics. Fair. Nobody would be, hey, man, everybody like what they like. That's fair. But we argue too much when your whole show is about arguing about bullshit. Y'all came and attacked that woman on some goofy shit, calling her all kinds of lesbian jokes and shit like we don't know she's gay. like being every kind of I'm the main type of nigga that be on that, man, the LGBTQ be picking on the black community saying we're homophobic and stuff. We ain't really like that. And then you niggas gonna go do exactly that, talking about all them little weak ass lesbian jokes and shit like that. All them little weak ass lesbian jokes because the woman's hitting you with facts that your niggas is scamming. I want to see Tariq put up that history museum. I think that's dope and essential. But if I didn't, I wouldn't go over to his shit trying to undermine his shit. I just wouldn't speak on it. Nigga, when Yvette, see, this is the people, when Yvette blew up, when ADOS started becoming a thing, this is how you know it was a clout chase. Remember, she didn't go, see, the real reason everybody started trying to bang on Yvette was because she didn't include them on what they thought the hustle was. The black hustler class looked at it like a lick, and I'll prove it right now. When Yvette Carnell Antonio Moore started getting burned with ADOS to where they started regrettably mentioning ADOS on CNN and MSNBC, when it became such a big thing that it was clear they were getting banned and buried and everybody was trying to stop them, and it was the hot thing, the first thing these niggas did, Tariq Nasheed, Jason Black, and Professor Black Truth, I don't know if those two are the same guy, but they kind of sound different. Those three niggas had a very special episode of the Black Channel. These niggas had a call to arms where they was sitting back discussing, okay, how are we gonna ride this wave? And at first they tried to act like they were supportive and yeah, we support, but they started getting bitter because they never got reached out to. They thought, okay, we're going to get some legitimacy out of this. We're going to be able to get some shine off of this shit. We're going to talk about the topics that, and to be honest with you, to be completely honest, I feel like that was a bit of a mistake on ADOS's part. There should have been more of a reach out, because those people are some influential cats that could have been some very useful echo chambers. Tariq is an influential nigga. Jason Black puts out a lot of consistent, concise content. I don't agree with everything he says, but the nigga does his thing. I'm not going to sit here and lie because we on opposites. I'm not going to lie. Professor Black Truth is kind of the weak link relatively, but that's only because his channel's been under a lot of bullshit with YouTube. He's more riskier than the other two. But if you had those three combined and there was a genuine reach out from Yvette, a genuine reach out from Antonio to go, hey man, let's slap it together. This is what we're trying to do. Boom, 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 boom. Even if there were certain ways y'all couldn't associate in public because it's different crowds and you know how that shit go. I think there should have been more of an effort to reach out to those type of content creators. I think there should have been a more effort to where we could have been more concise. Even if you didn't feel like your messages flow, just to have where we're moving in unison. You don't want people who you're going to go negotiate with, i.e. white society and politics. You don't want them people feeling like you're not on the same page, because they'll exploit any kind of issues, which is exactly what they did. So I'll admit mistakes. I'll admit things or criticisms where I'm like, I wish they would have did that differently. But for all the shit you niggas tolerate that's actual scams, you can't come over here with an eyebrow raised at ADOS, who's never taken a dime from you, but you're coming back fresh off of the Tulsa real estate fund. That's a goddamn scam. But you'll forgive that nigga and be like, why y'all be tripping trying to knock a black man's hustle? Because the black man's hustle in the black community. Y'all let that kind of shit tolerate. Y'all haven't demanded Umar Johnson come up with that school money yet. But ADOS coming out straight up giving you ADOS101.com and telling you everything. ADOS offering you videotaped minutes of their meetings. ADOS trying to be as upfront and, hey, sign up, come down here. We're doing. Nah, I don't want to do all that. So just pay attention to these niggas. ADOS ain't went nowhere. We ain't missed a meeting. There's chapters, all that shit. Niggas got a report. Niggas done filed the paperwork. And ain't nobody from ADOS came and swooped up no money, donated from no big company on behalf of the black community. We ain't did no Black Lives Matter shit. We squeaky clean. We pass all our piss tests. Our background check is good. Our credit is straight. Can't nobody say no funny shit about ADOS. And that's what the black scammer class did not like. People was trying to start little bullshit controversies. People was trying to do shit and pretend like they was ADOS and all this kind of weird shit, to the point to where Yvette had to stop and go, look, man, before I can even deal with these white folks, I have to stop what I'm doing and go back and reform this like a corporation just to be nigger proof. Just to be nigger proof, where niggas ain't trying to copy my logo and sell the shit under, like just doing nigga shit. You got some nigga trying to go and copyright ADOS so he can try to stop her from using some Haitian nigga. Just some weird shit. Weird shit. That one chick, Anwar or something, making this whole documentary against ADOS and making it seem like, goddamn, making it seem like we Boko Haram or something. Like we get like just weird shit we had to deal with, where it was just open and blatant disinformation. Because one thing about politics is, right before it's voting time, the disinformation is just like, it's like the last play of the Super Bowl. Nobody cares if you foul; they're not going to throw a flag. Just don't let them catch the ball. Like, people just be openly lying. People be lying about what date be telling people, "Hey guys, the election polls are closed today. They're going to just do mail-in." People be lying about what date the election is because the misinformation is real. White people stats. That is crazy. That's as crazy as when them Pan-Africans be doing shit like that. They'll just dismiss and waive all evidence and proof by saying that's the white man's proof. Right? You be talking to an African, they be telling you some bullshit story about Africa, and, oh, you were captured by the white man. And you be like, well, no, actually, all the evidence and the castles in your country show that you guys actually had a deal with white traders to sell and capture Africa. No. You are believing the white man's lies. Just dismiss all things because the white man. No. Well, I got you on videotape right here, actually doing the things you said. No. You are watching the white man's technology. So no, brother, no. That damn affinity trick, right? He said white people statistics. So right there, that just lets you know he's full of shit. And I don't mean to pick on one person, but the brother's always talking about ADOS, and I see a lot of you people think that ADOS, because it's gone focused on the meetings and how we're going to reapproach, that it's disappeared somehow. I don't like how black people don't like to think on things sometimes. Like, we've gone into this little spirituality kick, and that's cool. You guys like, talking about astrology now a lot and talking about your energy and all that kind of shit and your inner peace and I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. That's fine if you want to cool all that back. But to just start taking this to where you guys are like, thinking messes with my energy. No, nigga, you got to be in reality. I don't know what kind of astral chakra, glow crystal shit you got going on, but you got to be in reality and talk turkey with a nigga and come back to earth. It's time. We got to start being more realistic. So we can't keep throwing away hard evidence because we don't like what it tells us. White people stats. That is some bullshit. That is some complete bullshit. That should be a red alert not to listen to that nigga on anything. You letting whole laws pass in your backyard that are affecting people. That I didn't know that would happen until he got elected. And you getting caught all off guard with politics, but you want to talk about worldwide war and having a black army and how you would go talk to Congress. Like, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about, where niggas want to talk fantasy land shit. I remember there was an Yvette Carnell episode where a nigga was suggesting we get an attack helicopter. I know I keep bringing that up, but it's just a perfect example of how when you try to form shit with black people, you realize how childish most of us are. Even people who have been successful in life and gone on and done, you start talking to a group of black people and you realize that what's more important to most black people is them getting their chance to talk. They want to chime in their 2 cents. They want to, I think we should do just so they can be in there and have something that they said. He brags all the time about how I was in this one group, nigga. I'm a free thinker. Yeah, it's cool to be a free thinker, but when you're trying to move as a unit, you don't want some nigga that's always going to start playing his solo all the goddamn time. There were more videos with rumors and conjecture and bullshit about ADOS, and not even just rumors and lies, but things that, even if they were true, were just inconsequential bullshit, right? Just weird ass things, because a lot of black YouTube content is bullshit. A lot of black YouTube content is gossip channel bullshit. It's gossip about who's got soul ties and who's doing sacrifices in hip hop and black celebrity. It's gossip about relationships and bullshit and red pill and blue pill and why the woman did high octanes. And meanwhile, the real world is fucking falling apart, right? ADOS, like I told you earlier, was coming in like the nothing from Never Ending Story, just saying, I'm eating up all of this shit. And all that's going to be left is the reality that you live in. You're the poorest group of people in the world. See, these were the stats he was saying are white people stats that niggas want to ignore. You're the poorest people in the country. Your numbers for where you're declining, your wealth will be at fucking zero within a couple of years. Zero, where you niggas will be complete. See, and black folks don't know. We say and think such dumb shit, and I hate to shit on my people. That's why I'm saying we. I don't like to do that y'all shit when I'm talking about where our shortcomings are. I'm one of us. We black Americans, we believe in such goofy shit sometimes, and we have our pride. I understand we have our pride. But we believe in such goofy shit and we don't understand what we're talking about. When somebody says the phrase, we'll have zero wealth, a nigga will be like, nigga, I got money. Nigga, we're not talking about you having $0 in your pocket forever. When we say zero wealth, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a future where all or a lot of black people are going to be working small little level panty ante 9-to-5 gig jobs in a gig economy trying to get by. You niggas be thinking it's good to drive for Uber. You niggas be thinking it's good to deliver food. You be like, nigga, I got my little side hustle, man. I'm out here getting my... No, nigga, you drive for Uber. You're a cab driver. You're not even a cab driver. To be a cab driver, you got to go get that little special license endorsement and shit. And that used to mean something. It was hard to get. And it gave you exclusive rights to a customer pool of ride sharing. Now you can just be any nigga in a Camry. You're in charge of fixing your own car that you're putting 1 million miles on. You're not your own business. Why do you think they're building automated cars anyway? Uber is fighting for its life legally to be made to make sure that you guys aren't ever listed as employees. That's why they pump your head up and say you're your own business. And you know, niggas love hearing that shit in LLC Twitter, right? Niggas love that start a business shit and be having a whole LLC started with no money coming in. Niggas be talking about start a business, not so they can actually have a business going, but so that they can legally, wink, wink, quotes, allegedly, do all sorts of shady shit under the pseudonym of the business. You don't really want a business. You want an alias. You want a fictitious alias. That's what a lot of you scammer niggas be doing. A lot of y'all be telling people to start a business and don't got no business running through the business. Or it be some low level shit where you barely even need a business license. Quit telling people that shit all the damn time and you don't really mean it. You telling people to start a business with no capital. White people stats. I'm going to keep coming back to that, like the word practice, like white people. So we could just dismiss everything going on with us because we haven't personally collected the data. You got the FBI saying, hey, y'all, I know we're the FBI. We were started by J. Edgar Hoover that hates niggers and all that shit. But hey, even we got a limit. Your local police forces are infiltrated with white supremacists. I mean, high level positions, card carrying actual KKK members with Alabama Knight Rider tattoos. We got to really look at that. Oh, those is white people stats, man. We ain't worried about them honky stats. We're just going to ignore shit now because a white person collected the stats, even when the stats help our argument. That's the dumbest goddamn thing I've ever heard coming out of a black man's lips. Now he got an episode right now why you shouldn't compare immigrants to black Americans. He's not really smart on these topics. We're not. See, the reason why you should compare immigrants to black Americans is because everything black Americans are supposed to get is coming through immigrants. When you got Joe Biden, the sitting president, directly telling every member of anything you remotely have as far as a political infrastructure, every quote unquote black leader of every quote unquote worthwhile black organization. Every one of them. Joe Biden is telling them, you have to get behind the Hispanics. They're more important. They're more important to our party politically than black people. How did all these goddamn Hispanics get? Through immigration, nigga. All these people who are immigrating here are immigrating through a birthright citizenship naturalization law brought to you by Negroes in the first place. That shit was supposed to be for us. So we would be fully recognized citizens. And they're using that shit for these people. You got black people who aren't allowed to vote. They passing rules that you're not allowed to vote without your license, right? And you got black people in poor parts of town that can barely get a license. You got black people in poor parts of town because they can't get a license because they got tickets and shit like that, or just an ID. But if you're an illegal immigrant in some parts of the country, you don't even need your ID, and you can get a license to drive, no questions asked. It's very easy for a group of people like Hispanics to come in, get waltzed right in and become a citizen and outnumber you in votes. Thank God Hispanics don't vote in a unified fashion like black Americans do. So it's still, just like everybody else, ends up splitting Republican and Democrat. So they can't really make hay like they want to yet. But the fact that the Democratic Party, every 8 to 12 years, both the Democrats and Republicans try to court the Hispanic vote in their own little way. You're not getting courted like that because you've placed yourself under the immigrant. Black people should be the main group opposed to immigration. Open border policy, you should be the main group. You're the main group most affected by the jobs. You're the main group most affected by interaction and living with these people. These people are given free light to set up shop in your hoods. You don't have the money to set up shop, but they'll give them, here's a no tax 7-year just fucking freeway to build whatever you want for 7 years, Mr. Immigrant that just got here. Here you go. Go on, hey, I know you weren't shit in your country, but you come over here and be these shit over here over these niggers. Come on over here and just be right over them. We don't let them do anything. We got them living in the projects broke with no lights on, but you can go ahead and sell them all our old past due date products in your shitty slumlord mini mart. Go ahead. And some lottery tickets. Go ahead. Some malt liquor. This shit is designed to be this way with niggas on the bottom. By policy. By policy, it's designed to be this way. And you got a group of people that are trying to show this. And your answer is, those is white people stats. That's fucking ridiculous. Because you just dismiss all statistics outright, it's no wonder you come to a dumbass conclusion like your goofy ass video why you can't compare immigrants to black Americans. You can most definitely compare the two. But I've gone on far enough for this topic today. You know what I'm saying? I told you I'm back up in this bitch. I told you I was going to be more consistent with y'all. I know you guys probably a little nervous after the second episode. No, here we go. Let's get it in, man. There's a lot going on, and I want to be on top of this politics. I want us to have a desire and an appetite to know more. We have to get rid of that idea with politics like, oh, man, I ain't getting involved in that politics shit. We don't want to get involved in the fanfare and the bullshit and the spectacle of politics. We do want to always be involved in the nitty gritty and the real of what goes on because they slip these rules right under our noses because we don't want to get involved in that politics shit until it's too late. So let's quit listening to Fantasyland niggas like Pharaoh Ramesses Elaton. We're never going to that shit. Nothing that he's saying is ever going to work. There's never going to be any magical black military. None of that shit. Quit listening to that nigga wearing those Michael Jackson, they don't really care about us jackets and shit. Like, let's start being serious. Keep ADOS name out your mouth if you ain't really rocking with AD. Man, we ain't rocking with you, nigga. We don't want to talk about that bullshit you be doing. So let's stay focused, man. Let's stay focused.